But let's move forward and chat about Mahindra CIE. What then is fueling the strong outperformance? Hemant Luthra, the chairman in Mahindra CIE, joining in on the show right now. Hemant, hi, morning. Mahindra CIE clearly has been delivering double-digit growth despite moderate PV sales in the European Union, slowing down of demand in EU, unMHCV segment, and the muted demand in the domestic market. What would you say is attributing or driving this kind of growth? Where is it coming from?
I think it's coming from the fact that the customers have figured out that there's a strong company. It has got a strong balance sheet. It is not going to go the way of the company that have taken on too much debt, and therefore we see customers migrating to us, and we see the demand from all over the world, and it's in Europe, it's in India, everywhere the demand still goes up. I don't know whether we can continue to grow 20% year on year as we look forward for the next 3-4 years. But having delivered that kind of growth in the last year, we hope to continue at least 2019.
Luthra, hi there. Good morning. Tell us a little bit about what levers you're identifying for the outperformance over the industry to continue, and how much of this do you think you would owe to the Billforge? What has been the contribution from there?
See, Billforge contributes a turnover of about 800 crores on a total turnover of 8,000. So yes, it makes an important contribution, but I don't think it moves the needle. And therefore, I have to say that every bit of the business is performing well. We are growing in foundry, we are trying to double our capacity. We are growing in gears, we are trying to double our capacity. In stampings, we're putting in 2 new plants. We are spending about 300-400 crores in capex. And as I said, that this is operating efficiencies, this is the right customer, this is new customer orders, and most important, we continue to see a number of banks and OEMs coming to us and pointing to us that these are the guys who are weak, and can you take them over, because we want to grow this business in automotive business in India at 10-12% year on year for the next 15 years, and they need to see well capitalized vendors. I can even give you some specific examples, but I'll hold off from that till we come to what you think about the M&A strategy.
How is it that you're addressing the overall demand environment, both globally as well as back home, given the kind of multiple headwinds, trade war concerns, volatile fuel prices, currency, increased raw material costs, and overall dampened consumer sentiment as well? And do you see these concerns spilling over into 2019 too?
No, we don't. We're not worried about 2019. We're not worried at all, because what we see is that, as I just now mentioned to you, we've gone and met the Marutis of the world, and Maruti says they're sitting on $5 billion of cash. And they think that that cash has to be spent if they need to grow from 1.5 million cars a year just now to 5 million cars a year by 2030. And they need suppliers to spend not 5 billion, but they need suppliers to spend 10 billion. Now, most of the suppliers who overborrowed are in NCLT. They've had all kinds of problems, and Maruti needs a reliable supplier. So do other OEMs. And the same thing is happening in different parts of Europe, and that's why we feel that our growth prospects, we can confidently say that we will continue to outgrow the industry. Transfer of technology helps. The fact that we are not dependent on a single market helps. The fact that no single customer is more than 15% of our turnover helps. The fact that we've got technology across forgings, composites, and everything helps. And our new M&A targets are in those areas of technology and geography where customers are demanding our presence of a strong, well-capitalized company. So we're now looking at aluminum, we're looking at plastics, and therefore we can see that the growth will continue.
Now, you have been delivering a 12% plus margin over the last couple of quarters. Do you think we can expect you to sustain this momentum despite the likely auto slowdown? We had an extensive discussion as well on some of the key speed bumps for the year ahead. How are you looking to tackle the challenges of the increased costs and the muted demand next year?
Well, the increased costs are offset also by the fact that the rupee devalues a bit. And because the rupee devalues and some of our units as Bilforge are exporting 20% of their turnover, it happily offsets that. Secondly, we are able to reduce the cost because we have a strong balance sheet, and therefore it's not necessary for us to borrow in rupees at 10%. We are perfectly happy to borrow in euros at 2%, and that helps us in terms of reducing our overall cost. And yes, we have got 12% EBITDA margins, and we're not where we want to be because CIE said 15% EBITDA, 20% ROCE, and so we will continue to head towards that. And most important, we have, if you see that on quarter, year on year, our EBITDA margins have increased by about 50 basis points. But what has increased and given us great satisfaction is that PAT is increased by 400 basis points and return on capital has increased by 400 basis points. So all in all, we are still very optimistic about what's happening.
All right, so you're fairly optimistic for the year ahead. Now, your top 2 to 3 clients, they have seen moderate volume growth in the second half. How are you preparing for times like this?
I think we anticipated some of this. So if you see the latest research reports, they say that, 10-15 year, I'll pull out some numbers for you, okay, that the 10-15 year compounded annual growth rate for two-wheelers has been between 10 and 11%, for passenger vehicles between 10 and 8%, and for LCVs between 14 and 20%, and for farm equipment between 11 and 18%. So whichever sectors we are invested in and we supply to all of them, we don't see any issues because we are supplying to both the two-wheeler segment, we are supplying to the farm equipment business, we are supplying to MHCVs. And also remember that in the whole justification for the CIE deal was that while CIE was doing stuff for the passenger car vehicle in Europe, we were doing stuff for components for the truck market in Europe. So between geographies, between products, between verticals inside, I think we got a very healthy balance, and customers see that balance, and we get more and more orders coming in from our competitors, who some of them are 10 times EBITDA in terms of leverage, some of them are 15 times. Our leverage is at 0.8, so we've got enough firepower in our kitty to make some interesting acquisitions and address those sectors of the market where we are not yet present.
Okay, Mr. Luthra, great to have you on the show. Thanks so much for taking the time out, and here's wishing you a very happy and prosperous 2019 from all of us at ET Now.
Thank you so much.